something to you that is going to be all about flat towing. We have a 22 Ram 1500 pickup truck that we're going to be flat towing, and we got all of the things that we need to get that started. So I'm going to open up the boxes here. As you can see, we've got our shipment that came in. So let's do a quick unboxing and see what we've got. Hopefully we got it all. I'm hoping to maybe start this tomorrow, though I don't know for sure. It looks like in this box here, I'll show you, grab it. Is our tow bar. So we've got a pen, an instruction manual, and what we wound up getting was the E-Trailer XHD E98973. It's a 2-inch receiver, and it does come with the safety cables, it appears. All right, everything seems to be in good condition right now. All right, so this box contains multiple items. I was wondering what was going to be in this box of this size. Looks like we've got our wiring harness. This is to operate the controls, all the lights of the truck. Here is our braking system. Stay and play dual braking. Maggie's going to help me unbox it here. But we've got the whole kit for the assisted braking. This is going to take quite a bit of time to get installed. I watched the video on how to do this. Doesn't seem like it's that difficult, but it's going to take some time to get done. So everything for the braking system, watch out, is right here in this box. The actual base plate. So these things are a lot bigger than I thought, a lot heavier too. But there's 2 base plates in here and some additional hardware. These are things that goes into the base plates themselves, and then those adapters go from there to the tow bar. But it does look like everything is here, so this is going to be fun. Come with me. Let's do this. All right, today's the day that we're going to be working on the truck. We're putting the, hopefully, I don't know how long this is going to take, and this is not going to be an instruction step-by-step video. I got all these parts from E-Trailer, and E-Trailer has good instructional videos on how to install pretty much for any vehicle that you have out there. So I suggest you go to their website or you check out their YouTube channel because they have a lot of videos that goes into more detail. And that's what I'm using basically to do this. What my goal is here is to just kind of give you an idea of how difficult it was or it is to install. The first thing we're going to be doing is installing the base plate for the truck, and then we've got the wiring harness to install and the braking system to install. Those are 3 main components, and each one is going to be a pretty lengthy and detailed installation. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I got to get the whole front bumper off of this truck. So what I'm going to try to do is probably cut in every now and then with some updates, but mainly I'm just going to do time lapse of the work that I do. The project is going, it's going. I've been at it for about 2 hours now, and the longest time was taking the bumper off. So, you know, it's pretty straightforward once you get to actually hook up the the actual base plates to the frame of the truck. So figured I'd stop real quick, make sure that the time lapse was still rolling, and I noticed the camera was in the sun, so I might move it to somewhere in the shade. But I would probably say another couple hours and I'll be done here with this first project. But before I put the bumper back on, I'm going to look at some of the other projects that I have to do and make sure that having the bumper off would make it easier to do those other projects. So anyway, just taking a quick break with the camera here. I'll go ahead and throw another time lapse on from a different angle and continue working. So I've gotten, so 2:30, I started at 10:30. I did take a little bit of a lunch break, but I've got the base plates installed, about 95% of that done. I've got the wiring harness installed and connected in the back. That was pretty straightforward, not too difficult at all. That's about done. I did run the, as you can see, the wiring comes through here because my braking system's going to have to connect to that. So I brought it up into the engine bay, and then my braking system's next, and that red box right there is the braking system. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'm sure that I'm going to be able to get that completely. I'm sure I'm going to be able to get all this completely done within one day. All 3 units. Things are going pretty smoothly, no problems so far. So, but I want to make sure that the braking system's in before I put the bumper on, because just in case I have to run wires, I know I have to run a breakaway cable to the front where it connects. So we'll be taking care of all that now. So let me go ahead and get that popped up. Well, it is late and I've lost track of how much time it actually took me to do this project. I broke for dinner, and then I had I got sidetracked with doing some measurements on, where I have to get a drop for the hitch on the back of the camper. The camper is quite higher than where these bumpers are. And they say you want to be within 3 inches from where the base plate is versus where the hitch is. So the hitch on the back of the trailer, or on the back of the camper, is 24 inches, and this is 17 inches. So I'm going to find a 6-inch drop to get us closer to where I need to be to make sure that the tow bar is in line. Let me show you the completed project. Now, if you're going to tackle this yourself, flip around, I do suggest you have an extra set of hands. Just because it makes it a lot easier, probably go a little bit quicker too. I needed some help taking off and putting on the bumper on this Ram 1500. I wound up having to cut, which I didn't realize I had to do, but a little section just underneath where the base plate goes in to get the bumper back on. But I was able to attach my wiring harness right here to the base plate, and it gives me still room for the safety cables. And then over on this side we have our emergency breakaway right there for the braking system. We've got our controller unit for the breakaway system mounted, all the wires tucked in nice and neat, along with the air line for the brakes, the braking system that we had to put in, and there's a little switch control panel there. And as you can see on the there's the whatchamacallit thing that actually will apply the brakes whenever you hit the light. So now I haven't, and I probably do this tomorrow, but I haven't tested anything. I haven't tested to see if the brakes actually work, the system works. I haven't tested the lights, but it's just too late now to put it over and start doing that. Too late, too dark, too late, and everything. So we'll do that tomorrow. But this project is definitely a do-it-yourself if you have, flashlight's going dead. It is a do-it-yourself project if you want. Save yourself a few $100. It's not too difficult. The instructions in the videos make it really helpful. But like I said, have an extra set of hands to do it, and a whole day to get that taken care of. Anyway, we'll pick up in the morning when we test the system, and I'll give you a final thought on the whole system in that video. All right, the next morning I've gone and pulled the truck over here behind the camper, and I actually tested out the lights. There's one little issue I'm going to have to address. I'm going to look into whether or not there is a solution for this, but with the camper, the brake lights and the tail lights are the same. So right now the hazards are flashing and the blinkers are blinking. That's what we expect. If I turn on the running lights, the running light comes on in the back of the the vehicle, the truck. But if you hit the brakes, the yellow light comes on. So it's all wired up properly. It's working the way it's supposed to. But the way the camper lights, there's not a dedicated blinker bulb on the camper, so it believes that the blinker is the brake lights as well. So my first thought solution is to just replace this bulb with a red bulb, and when I blink, my left and right blinkers on the truck will always be red, but that's perfectly fine and legal. But if I hit the brakes, then when it's hooked up, at least the red lights will come on to indicate braking. So I'm going to see if there's any kind of wiring workaround or something like that, but as far as I believe, I think that's going to be the case. Now, went ahead and put the fuse in the braking system. I'm about to turn this on for the first time, and they said that is an indication that it's working. The sensitivity needs to be adjusted here. Alright, so there's a little adjustment knob right here on the side that they said you want. The good place to start, because this is all an adjustment, is to go ahead and loosen that knob, push it upwards until the brake stops automatically pulsing with the blinker lights, because that's what indicates when this thing is supposed to brake. There's also a G-force. This is a G-force sensor, so depending on how hard you brake will determine, this sensor in this machine will determine how hard to push on the brakes. But you don't want the thing locking up, so that's what this adjustment here is for. Like, I can shake this thing a little bit and it's indicating that the brakes should pull based on a G-force. But if it's just standing still and you hit the brake lights, like if I'm just sitting at the red light with the brakes on, there's no reason for the tow vehicle to have its brakes pressed as well. The lights will be on, obviously, because it's controlled by the motorhome, but there's no reason to push on the brakes. Now, if we're stopping, this G-force will sense that we're stopping. It's going to apply the brakes, and if I need to stop suddenly or strong, it's going to sense that strong sudden stop and press the brakes even stronger. So that's the theory. But the good thing is it's working. That's the ultimate goal. I've got everything hooked up properly. And the main test was when we actually get it on the road. I'm probably going to do a local test to make sure everything's working before we decide to go on any kind of trips. But the everything is wired up properly. All the lights are working. The brake controller's working. All the wiring is proper. There's just the one pigtail here that connects all the lights. There'll be safety chains for when we get the tow bar on. I had to order a 6-inch drop for this because you can see the difference between where the front of the bumper is versus where the hitch is on the back of the camper. So I had to go 6-inch drop. That'll get us within the 3 inches difference. And then keep in mind that jacks are down on the back of the camper, so the back of the end of this camper is a little higher than normal, but not by much. Once we get that drop in, I'll put it on the level road. We'll get it connected. We'll go for go through the process of putting this thing in a flat tow mode, and then test it out, make sure everything's good to go. We're getting ready to take the camper on a trip, and we haven't this is kind of going on with the other video I made about the towing, the tow package that I had to install, which I have yet to hook up the truck to the camper, but we're going to do that now. So I'm going to get this truck hooked up, do a quick test drive, and see how this thing goes. Having to take a wire brush on my drill and basically getting all the paint off, because the paint is making it too thick to go in a 2-inch receiver. The weird thing is, this would fit, with it's painted, would fit in my original receiver on the back of the truck or the camper, but I think it's because it's been worn. It's, it's a little used, whereas this is brand new. I did try it on my other used 2-inch drop, and it still was too tight to get in there. So I'm still having to force it in a little bit, but after I get it the paint all off, I'm able to get it on. So I'm not 100% thrilled about taking the protective painting coat off of this. Now it's just bare steel, but it's about the only way I can get it to work. And I'm thinking that, pulling it in and out and using it and the movement, it's going to take away this paint anyway. So I'll just have to keep close eye on this, make sure it doesn't rust or get it weak. So now that I got it all hopefully enough sanded down, let's get it on there. Down just enough to keep it from shaking. That was a pain in the butt. And when we're not hooked up, this doesn't have, like, this particular model doesn't have like a store mode where you can just lift it up and lock it upward, put a cover over it. So I'm gonna have to take it off or leave it connected like this. So now we got to get it connected to the truck. So here's all the stuff that I got. I'm not sure if I'm going to need or not, but I've got these guys, which actually snap into the truck. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing here. Right here, okay. These little caps just to keep it clean. And then these go in that way, turn to lock in, and the cotter pin that goes in. Boom. So that's locked in. Now these are adapters that came with the tow bar that go on here, and then I have to pull the truck closer. There's the instructions here. It looks like it gets permanently mounted to these bars. So look at that. So I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like Just the two thinner washers. This looks like it fits, and then I will need just the lock nut. I'm going to put the bolt with a nut on the bottom. This way, if for whatever reason the nut comes out, the bolt's still in place. Put that guy through. And put our pin in. Tight fit and locked in. So once I get that tightened down, that'll be just about right. You want to tighten this down to the point where it's squishing this, which it would take a lot of effort to do that, because you still want this to be able to move. But you got it locked down so the bolt will stay in place. And then you got your safety cables. You got a little hook here. Safety cable goes in there. And then on this side, hook it to the safety cable hook here. Make sure everything is secure. I gotta tighten that down. And we've got right here the lights. That's going to run on top of the thing here. And then lastly, we've got our breakaway cable. This is going to go to our braking system. Put that right there. And then bring this on. We're going to attach it to something on the camper, preferably that's not part of the hitch. Some people hook it here, but if for whatever reason you have a catastrophic failure here and this whole thing comes off, this isn't going to break your brakes. So if we get up underneath here, and we hook it to something that's part of the camper itself. Let's say, take for instance this guy right here. So that's why if this thing fails for whatever reason, this is still going to be attached to the camper, unless we lose the whole back end. But then you can only repair so much. But if for whatever reason the hitch fails and breaks away, this will apply the brakes to the truck if it disconnects. But we've got our locking pin, we've got our other hitch pin here with a bolt that's got to be holding, and that won't hold it on, but that'll help. We've got our safety cables to help keep this. If anything between here and here fails, the safety cables should keep this truck behind us. And then we've got our emergency braking e-brake there. So as far as I'm aware, and I'm going to double check this, what we need to do now, because these are not locked in, is we're going to need to put the truck in neutral and then pull the camper forward, and these things will extend and lock into place. And then once we're good there, we should be good to go, I think. We are flat towing a Ram 1500. This is a 2022. 2022. So we've got to get this thing in neutral, and this is the first time I'm doing it, so see if I can do it without double checking. I've looked at a video and watched it, but we're gonna go without. So as far as I'm aware, the first thing we got to do is start the truck. So I've got the key in my pocket. I'm just gonna go ahead and start the truck up. And then here is our four-wheel drive. Now it is a four-wheel drive, and I can put our vehicle in neutral, but there's a little button right here. You need to a ballpoint pen or something small to push this button. And you're supposed to press and hold it. And it says to complete neutral shift, put transmission in neutral. So let's put this in neutral. Four-wheel shift in process. Four-wheel drive, neutral, warning. Vehicle may move, even in park. So where I'm getting that information, sorry, I probably should have shown that. It says it up here on my dash, what I read out. But now we have a little button there, I mean a little light, I don't know if you can see, where it says neutral down here. It says four-wheel drive, neutral, warning, vehicle may move even if in park. So last thing we need to do is shift this to park and then turn the vehicle off. And we should be in neutral. So even though we are in park. All right, turn that all off. I can push that and see this will lock into place. It seems like the safety chains aren't long enough for this. Got the one side locked in. Well, I'm sure it's just not locked in because I'm not completely squared, I guess. So I guess the trick would be to drive it, see if it locks in. Oh, wait till Amy gets here. In the meantime, I'm going to look up safety chain extenders or something, because these are obviously not long enough to go all the way up to where they need to hook on the back of the motorhome. And it's probably because I have this drop, so that added an extra 6 inches, and that's probably what's going on here. But I don't know if they make just a little extender or if I need to get like the coil ones, the pigtail ones. But just keep that in mind if you guys are using any kind of drop down or extender. Here's our braking system, our module. When we're not using it, I just keep the fuse out. This way we don't unintentionally drain the battery if there's some sort of drain on this. Can't see what I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna throw the fuse back in. I want to double check the hoses. Looks like everything is good. Ouch, there and there. And then we're going to turn on the system here. That turns on the braking system. And now the braking system should be up and running. Now it's Amy comes back out here. I'm going to pull forward with the RV. Hopefully both of these will lock in. And then we're going to slowly do once around the block to make sure everything is good to go.
No. There it goes.
Both sides?
I heard the driver's side.
Nice.
I think the passenger's one is already locked in. Yeah.
I'm gonna try backwards, see if they go in at all.
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, we've got it hooked up, both bars locked into place, which I think I'm double check. I think we're good to go there. I'm gonna go take actually a quick look here, real quick. I keep on getting these notifications coming out, but just restarting it seems to take care of it. So let me put the blinkers on. Let me turn the lights on too. double check the signals are working. Yeah, they're good. It's locked in. Got our running lights on, our blinkers. Just went ahead and changed the blinking lights from yellow to red on our truck here to solve our issue that I was having before. The motorhome doesn't have a designated blinking light, so every time you turn hit the brakes, the thing that lights up on the tow vehicle is the blinkers, and those were yellow. So to make sure that they were red and not confusing for anybody, just change the bulbs to red. So, oh my god, I'm gonna go for a quick ride around the block and make sure this thing tows okay. And this camera right here is what we have. I'm gonna keep a close eye on it. So I'm gonna point you guys at it, and then you watch it for me. It's the first time I've towed any vehicle. Flat tow any vehicle. There's a little red light that's supposed to come on the dash on the vehicle that I'm supposed to be able to see here when I hit the brakes to indicate that the braking system is working on the truck. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see it in the daytime, but it should be coming up right about there when I get ready to brake here. Now how the braking system works, oh yep, I see it. Light just came on. And the brakes will definitely, I can feel it. And here we go for the first turn. I have to adjust the sensitivity on the braking systems, because when I hit the brake on this thing, I can feel the truck pulling the camper, and I don't want to put that extra wear on the truck. So I might bring the sensitivity down just a little bit. We'll call that a successful trial run. Let's go ahead and disconnect it, basically do everything in reverse, and then we'll call it a successful install. All right, well, to do this in reverse, and by the way, I did find they do have extenders for the safety cables. For $20 I can get a set that'll give me an additional 15 inches, which I only need is another, 5 inches or so that'll work just fine. But anyway, we take our braking cable off, we take our lights off, get those out of the way. We're going to remove the safety cable, and then we have to press to release that there and this here, and that'll release the tension on those bars. Maybe I'm doing something in a little bit wrong order, but all this stuff has to be done. I would suggest that if you're on any kind of hill, because remember the car is in neutral, so before you completely disconnect the truck from, before you remove the safety cables, and in all honesty, mine aren't connected, but those should be the last thing you let go of. I would even leave the safety cables on while you disconnect this. But it seems like what I would do is remove my cables, my braking system, remove the umbilical cord for the lights, remove or press this to remove the tension and unlock the bars. And then once you do that, I would go and put the car back in park before I remove the bars from the truck. And that's because if you're on any kind of hill, even if it's a small hill, and this thing is still in neutral and you disconnect this, the truck will either roll towards you, roll away from you, and you don't want that to happen. And that's another reason why you would leave these on until the very end. This should be the last thing you take off. This way, if you forgot to take it off and you were able to remove these pins and everything, and the truck started moving, rolling away, then these safety cables would prevent that from going anywhere. So now that we've got the tension off and everything, let's go ahead and throw this back in park. We're gonna turn it back on. It still says it's in neutral up in the dash. I don't even think we need the pen anymore. We just put it in 2-wheel drive, press and hold. The light will come on. This is the complete neutral shift, put the transmission in neutral, so we're going to throw this in neutral. I heard the click outside. My transmission is back in 2-wheel drive. And then we can put this in park and then turn off the car. And then we're good to go. We're back in gear. Now, if we were to try to push this car, it's not going to go anywhere. It's locked in. Now we're still connected to the truck, or to the camper, but that will lock us in park. So let's go ahead and remove these pins. Safety cables. Again, I already know that the truck's not moving, it's in park. And then the last thing we'll do is remove our pins and our attachments that go on the front. Put our dust caps back on. There's been any dirt or grime to get inside these. And we're good to go. Just gotta take this off the camper and store it away.